So it is now Monday. Why did I decide to do this again? I got through all of the clothes and all of the books yesterday, but I worked for 12 hours to do it. And my back's not happy, and my wrists aren't happy, and I kind of just want it to be done already, but I've got so much more to do. The next topic is papers, and as an author, I have a lot of papers. I've kept really bad ideas, like these are gonna go in the garbage, I know this for sure. I've kept really bad and juvenile ideas from when I was a teenager. I feel like I've said it before, but like not every idea that an author has is golden, and especially first ideas. I don't even know why I kept some of these, except I guess I had it in the back of my mind that someday I might be able to go back and flesh them out to something that actually makes sense. But I feel like, I have way too many good ideas now. I know that I'm going to get more good ideas. I don't need my past ideas, I really don't. The harder part will be answering questions like, do I keep the hard copy of the first novel I ever wrote? Do I keep the hard copy of the first romance I ever wrote? Both of those happened in high school when I wrote by hand all the time. Instead of typing it up, I would write it out on paper during class, and then I would come home and type it up after it was all done, and kind of add my little edits in when I did that. Neither of them should ever see the light of day, let me put it that way. But do I want to keep them for sentimental reasons, or don't I? I've got an entire box worth of questions like that need answering, and I would love to pare that down a lot. I also have another little box of story ideas that were more fleshed out, like beginnings. I used to do a lot of beginnings and world building and stuff like that, so I've got crates of that sort of thing for stories that I probably won't revisit. So I have to go through every single one of those. Decide, is that going to be a book that I will pursue in the future, or am I probably never going to write sci-fi again because I've kind of branded myself as a romance writer? I feel as a person that I can probably step my toe into fantasy because I can keep it at a Regency setting and add some fantasy in, how Temeraire takes a Regency setting and just adds in dragons. Yeah, that sort of thing. Not that I'm gonna do the dragon thing, but because that's already been done and it's been done really well. But my ideas would be to add a magical element into the Regency era. It's early in the morning and I'm just babbling, I'm sorry. So, I have hung on to way too many things. Ideally, I want it all to fit in this bin. The problem being that this nice little bin is already full of beginnings to stories I'm probably never going to write. I think I need more tea for this. Okay, let's do this. A diary from when I was 11. We have cows in our backyard. There are cows. There is a chart of what they look like, what their names are, and who owns them. This is the very first short story I ever wrote, and I wrote it when I was 8 or 9. It was for a school project. I was competing against my best friend to write the longest story, and there's a point in this short story where it should have ended because it came to the perfect conclusion, but I kept writing because I was in a competition and I still lost by like a page and a half. I'm keeping this because it was a very fun little story that I never finished, but it brings me great joy to think about, where the main character is an author and she was pulled into her own fantasy story that she was writing, and she then realized exactly how cheesy and cliche the fantasy world that she had built was and how little she knew about the characters. Like, for instance, the main character's name, he's got this, like, really auspicious, like, title and name, but he's just like, call me Zig. And she's like, that is so stupid. And she didn't know he had a son, and, it's really fun to write. I don't know if I'll ever go back and write more of it, but it was really fun for me to, explore that idea. I'll put that here. This is going to be thrown out after I show it to you. You may remember the laughter. This was the sketches to the one and only animation I have ever made in high school. My best friend and I came up with superhero names for ourselves. Here we are. That one's me, that one's her. Linzito and Case Wando. And there's more of her design. And more of my design. And then the crowning glory, her boyfriend. I don't know why I made him a twig. I love it. And now that I have that immortalized on film, I'm going to get rid of it. I did it. I still haven't answered the question of... I still have not answered the question of, do I want to keep these 72 pages of very light pencil of the very first novella I finished, which I consider to be the first book I finished. It had chapters and everything. It's really light and you basically can't read it, but it's completely cringeworthy and you basically don't want to read it. I'll get rid of it. Then I have the very first novel that I finished. Original, it says here, 68,942 words. The alternative ending is 67,513 words. I wrote 2 endings. One that was a happy ending and one that was a very angsty cringe ending because I was a very angsty cringe teenager. The fun part about writing this book, I remember writing it when I was 16, and I had this huge crush on a guy who liked fantasy, so I basically gave him chapters of this book as I was writing them, and that's what propelled me to finish writing this book. Teenage crush that never went anywhere. I'll get rid of this one too. I have it all typed up, so I don't feel like I need my connection to this guy. This is a very cringe-worthy character and world building that I did with my dad when I was, I want to say 14, 15, where we just sat down and came up with a pantheon of gods and their underlings, and then, because we didn't want them all to be humanoid, we started making it real weird. Really weird. The certificate for the first NaNoWriMo I ever completed. 2008. Yeah, I've got other things in there. I've got the I've got a printout of my first ever short story to be published, which was when I was 14. I have the acceptance letter somewhere in the pile that I've kept, and yeah, a few other things. But overall, I got rid of a lot. I got rid of like all of my old story ideas. I'm still like, this isn't even full anymore. I kept some of them, even though I know in my heart that I will probably never go back to writing them. But I kept them because they are important to me. Alright, so papers are done. I can't believe it. That was a lot less painful than I thought it would be. I guess that's because I know that I have great ideas that I can explore that I have right now. And because a lot of this stuff is digitized. Don't ask me to pare down my digital saved stuff. Nope, that's always existing in a small corner of my hard drive forever and always. Oh, he can't get over the mountain of things to come see me. What will he do? What will he do? Oh, did he find a way over the mountain of stuff? He found a way over the mountain of discarded stuff. He's going to be in my shop now. Nobody can see me. Ooh, mwah.